What's up, Silver Stackers? Thanks so much for being here. This is Silver Slayer. Just want to update you all real quick. My father did pass away this morning. I let everyone know about a week and a half ago when he was admitted into the ICU from the situation of him coughing up chunks of blood. He's needed a lung transplant for years and years. But during the surgery, he had a stroke in his spine, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down. And during that time, I let all you know, and hundreds of you left your prayers and comments and support. And I read individually every single comment you all left when I was visiting him at the hospital. And he was just so grateful. He couldn't talk at the time, he would write down on a piece of paper. That's how we communicated. But it really meant a lot to him and to me. He was getting better. I was visiting him almost every day. He was getting better and better. But I got a call this morning that I guess his heart stopped last night, and they tried to, or I guess early this morning, and they tried to do CPR, and then on the fourth time it just stopped completely. So yeah, he passed. I've been dealing with a lot of different stuff, from my aunt passing away the same way, almost identical. She was paralyzed, started getting better, same exact thing happened. My mom with stage 2 breast cancer. I know she's been cancer free for a year now, but you guys all helped me through that a lot. So, yeah, lots has been happening, but the show must go on, and yeah, and I'm glad that I'm able to vent to you all because you're pretty much the only, not the only people, but my main supporters. So I appreciate you all. Some good news though, my channel did just pass 10 million views, which is an incredible milestone. I'm gonna try to double that within a year. I've been making videos since 2016 on this channel. Took me until now to reach 10 million views, but my goal is by July 1st of 2023 to have 20 million views. I'm gonna do it, so please support the channel. I am going to do that. Just watch. So yeah, this is a crazy article. This is a very crazy article. The LBMA, London Bullion Market Association, the top dogs. I mean, you don't get bigger than them, right? All governments, they go by, everything surrounds the LBMA, right? This is the top dog in there. They posted this crazy article titled "Facing Facts: Silver is Bracing for a Turbulent Year Ahead." Now, when I briefly covered this, wow, this stuff should have been talked about probably a year ago. It would have been a lot more relevant a year ago, because it does go into like the Wall Street silver stuff and everything. But man, this is a good article. It is heavy. So I guess grab some popcorn, kick your feet up, and let's talk silver. Facing facts. Silver is bracing for a turbulent year ahead, which I'm sure we all could agree on. Markets are going to be crazy because we're living in crazy times. The market seems much more balanced in 2022, 1 year after a social media frenzy called for a short squeeze by promoting silver ETF purchases that would theoretically cause a supply shortage and push prices up. Now, although the failed short squeeze had a short-term impact on prices, a more significant outcome was putting silver back on the map for investors. And that's what I was always letting people know. Like, yes, that they didn't push the price up, but Wall Street Silver has how many members now? Like what? I can't even think. What? 193,000 members. They have 193,000 members. Most of those people are new stackers. So they put silver stacking back on the map. But anyways, some of the largest daily gains, up to 9% in more than a decade, were reported during the first days of February 2021. A more significant outcome was putting silver back on the map for investors. This was reflected by an increase of nearly 70 million ounces in the total silver ETF holdings during the first quarter of 2021 alone, and an uptick on exchange volume by 22% year on year. And by the way, regardless if you love or hate Wall Street Silver, they saved a lot of people. 193,000 members. within a year. Think about in 3, 4 years from now, 800,000. The whole point of my channel is to help people start stacking, get out of the corrupt financial system with their money burning away in their bank account and preserving their wealth. So if someone is doing that for someone else, I cannot hate on them for that. So many people got into the safe haven of silver because of them. So I cannot hate on them for doing that. I can only respect them and appreciate it. As a true silver stacker that's trying to help as many people get into silver, how could you hate on that? But anyways, last year represented a fascinating year for silver, as both demand and supply recovered to pre-global situation levels. Mined silver output grew the most in Latin American countries, where governmental restrictions due to the situation during 2020 fell the hardest, mainly in Mexico and Peru, which is scary because Mexico and Peru are the two largest silver producing countries. Those two countries alone, by the way, produce 40% of the global silver supply. Those two countries alone, and they got hit hard from the global situation. So the largest production gains were sourced as byproducts from copper operations. That means that the largest production of silver was found by accident when they're looking for copper, gold, lead, copper, zinc. They're looking for those metals. If they find some silver, they'll take it, but they're not even looking for it. That's crazy. The most produced silver was found by accident, looking for copper instead. That is insane. That grew by a substantial 9%, while primary silver output increased nearly 2%. The reopening of economies resulted in a strong rebound in physical demand, which increased nearly 13%, driven by the retail investment sector, from which demand was the highest in 6 years. So here we have chart number 1. Supply and demand balance returned to an equilibrium after a massive surplus during 2020. So here you can see a 2010 to 2021 chart. The orange is a silver price, the yellow line, total supply, and the blue line or the black line or whatever is total demand. Now, you could see that if you look, the yellow line is pretty stable. That's the supply. Demand, you can see increase when the price is lower, or I guess. And here's the weird part about this chart is you got to remember what was happening during these times in the economy. Okay, you have to give context, right? If you're just looking at these numbers and you didn't know what was going on in 2011, or let's say in 2020 when everything started, you couldn't really put the pieces of the puzzle together. So let me give some context. Okay, so in 2011, this is when silver was $50, right? And here on the right side is the price. $50, right? 2008 credit financial crisis, $1 billion stimulus led to $50 silver, 2011. And then for the next 10 years, the average price is $15, right? I started making videos around right here in 2016. That's when my channel, actually down here, because I remember the July 2016 high of $21 silver. I was deep into my channel by then. We all celebrated. I wasn't deep into it, but I was by far making daily videos, already had a platform at that point. So I probably started around right here with my YouTube channel. Daily videos ever since. That's insane. I've taken a couple of breaks, but for the most part, daily videos. But yeah. So you can see this is obviously when demand is high. And I covered some articles from back during this time, and most people thought silver was going to keep going higher. So if you looked at this from an outside perspective, you would say, yeah, you should have sold up here because look, previously the price was down to $13, $14. It's up to 50. Sell up there. But when you're in that moment at $50, you're not thinking to sell. You're thinking it's going to go up to $100, So it's easy to say, just like if you're watching a movie and you see someone do something silly. It's like, why would you do that? But if you're in the situation, you might have done that same thing. But But anyways, so demand is high, supply is right around a billion ounces, or I guess this chart, I'm assuming this goes by hundreds of millions of ounces, because and it's usually around 900 million. Back then, let me see something actually. Yeah, so I'm assuming that's a billion ounces. But anyways, so we see demand right here in 2012 start to decrease, and that's because the price started to decrease. But then you see demand at its highest in 2015 when the price is at, you know, $13. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. But then you see a huge decrease. And see, the supply has been pretty much stagnant ever since, but you could see that the demand, and maybe this is what happened. And you see demand go back up right here. Maybe people saw the $50 silver and they realized there was going to be a correction at some point, but maybe they thought this part right here, this uptick, was going to be the next bull run. So that's why demand grew, right? Because if you're in just this period, yes, the price always corrects. And they probably thought that right here, there was going to be a bull run. But regardless, you can see demand is really low right here. And that's while price is going upwards. But that's 2020. So anyways, silver mine production increased 853 million ounces in 2021. And by the way, did you know demand exceeded 1.12 billion ounces this year? Imagine what the demand's going to be in like 4 years. 2 billion, 3 billion ounces. So anyways, mine production increased 853 million ounces, representing a 3% year-on-year increase. At a regional level, the largest increase was reported in Latin America, especially in Mexico and Peru and Argentina. And that's where restrictions in 2020 impacted production levels severely. Silver output in Mexico, the world's largest producer, increased by 10 million ounces, 6%. Peru, 16%. And that was surpassing 19 million ounces of production reported in 2020. So I don't really want to go too much into the numbers, because I mean, it really doesn't matter. I'm trying to talk about, the overall picture of what this all means. So lead and zinc, like I was saying earlier, gold, lead, and zinc are the largest source of I guess silver being mined out of the ground by accident, right? By accident. Nobody's looking for silver. If they find it, they'll take it, but they're not looking for it. So investment demand in the form of coins and bars increased by 21%, 249 million ounces, the highest since 2015. That's huge. That is really big, because if we're talking about a production of 900 million ounces, and 249 million ounces is just from the investment sector, the industrial sector, EVs, solar panels, 5G towers, silver lithium ion batteries, the medical world, space equipment, dental alloys, computers, cell phones, colloidal silver, silver nanoparticles, I mean, it's used in everything. So if we have investment demand at 249 million ounces, taking that big of a chunk out of 900 million ounce annual production, you can see where the supply deficit really comes from. And the scariest part is all those things I just listed are booming, are going to be booming over the next decade, and for so on and so forth. So what's going to happen? I saw a thing by 2024. They said the production will be maxed out at like 950 million ounces, but we already exceeded a billion ounces this year alone. So historically, silver is the second instrument in the precious metals basket that carries monetary value after gold. Investors bought silver to address the growing concern of negative real interest rates and rising inflation. Silver squeeze social media campaign also played a major role in pushing investment demand higher. I don't want to go into ETPs. Now let's look at the outlook. This is the meat and potatoes. So in 2022, this will be a challenging year for jewelry and silverware fabrication, and that's the current elevated price is a major headwind, and until the price comes down by that at least 10%, demand will not revive. In a key market such as India, we have observed strong demand in the first 2 months. However, demand is now mostly dried up due to extremely high prices. China, at the same time, is battling with another wave of the global situation. Strict lockdown measures have already impacted retail consumption, real estate, and exports. So we've already observed the impact on demand in various commodities. India and China together contribute more than 40%. And most of India's demand is for religious reasons. But yeah, so the slowdown in fabrication demand in these two countries will undoubtedly drag down global fabrication demand. And then investment demand in the form of coins and bars may grow at a steady rate. I mean, the U.S. Mint sold 5 million ounces the first month of January. I mean, that speaks for itself. However, one must remain cautious on the exchange traded products side of things, the digital side. There's a risk that professional investors might offload some of their silver holdings once the situation subsides. Current holdings are enough to meet yearly physical demand, which presents a significant overhang for the market. So, on the industrial segment, we may witness a negative growth this year on high inflation and slowing economic growth. These two factors are likely to negatively impact demand, ranging from consumer electronics to automobiles and housing. Turning to mining supply, we expect that output to grow in Asia, Latin America, and North America, which will drive global mine production up 3%, mainly sourced as a byproduct in copper and gold producing mines, which we expect production to grow by 5 to 9% respectively, while primary production will remain flat regarding the previous year. I wonder if, as the silver shortage gets more serious, if they will boost more silver or focal silver mines, primary silver mines. Yeah, I think there's like two of them. Two of them. I think one is opening up this year or just opened up. But there's only like two primary silver mines out there. It's crazy. But anyways, the largest output increases were expected in Mexico, China, Peru, partially offset by declines in Russia, Kazakhstan, and Australia. Preliminary results on the first quarter of 2022 are somewhat disappointing, and while some companies are set to cut their production guidance, we expect production will pick up during the second half of the year. And then we can go into the gold to silver ratio, which has been higher than the historical ratio since 2014. What does the gold to silver ratio mean? This is how many ounces of silver it equals to amount to an ounce of gold. So if the ratio is 100 to 1, that means it takes 100 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold. And you could trade it. You could trade it at that ratio as well. You could go into your coin shop and give him 100 ounces of silver, and he'll give you an ounce of gold, right? And you could use those ratios to actually earn free silver. And I made a video about that the other day, if you want to go check that out. So anyways, here's the price outlook. Silver has lost substantial ground since the Federal Reserve raised the interest rate to contain soaring inflation. Higher interest rates have helped the US dollar strengthen against a basket of currencies, compromising the dollar index, while the benchmark 10-year US Treasury yield soared to multi-year highs, putting pressure on precious metals. We expect the Federal Reserve to continue its aggressive monetary policy for the rest of the year to bring the inflation rate down. This means that investors will chase yield by discarding non-yielding assets such as gold and silver. However, we expect this situation between those two countries going on that will continue to act as resistance on the downside of the short term. We expect the price may drop to $19 an ounce this year, while we believe that the year's high has already been hit. So they're saying that they think silver's price is going to go down even further. Now, if it breaks below $20, if it hits 19, I think it's going to get even uglier very fast. And it's because of the psychological number of 19. I mean, psychological aspect of investing is very much real, and I think it's extremely underlooked. And just like stores, if you go to the store, they're not going to mark something $20 they'll say 19.99. Even though it's a penny difference, just seeing the number 19 instead of 20 makes it look a lot cheaper. So if people see $19 silver, that is very low since we haven't seen that in a pretty long time, in a very long time. So that, well, I guess we saw $11 silver in March of 2020, but that wasn't really, regardless, most people got in during the beginning of 2021 during the Wall Street silver stuff. Most of those people bought at $30. So if they see it down to 19, I think a lot of people are going to sell, panic sell, pushing the price even lower. What do you think? Let me know what you think about that. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I thought this was a very, very, very good article that needed to be put out there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you stuck around this long. Obviously, I post a lot of informative content. If you want to be updated on a daily basis, make sure you click that subscribe button. I want to take a second to give a shout out to my channel sponsor, bullionmax.com. I'm honored to be working with one of the best bullion dealers online. Great prices, great deals, and by far the best packaging out of any company that I've ever seen. They even offer a silver starter kit, which is 5 ounces of silver at below employee pricing with extremely high premium coins for a great deal. It's only one per household, but a great way to lower your dollar per ounce average a bit and get a chance to grab some great coins. So shout out to Bullion Max, such a great company, always sending me silver to give away to my subscribers as well. bullionmax.com, and if you want the starter kit, go to bullionmax.com/silverslayer. And also make sure to go to ag47apparel.com if you want to express your love for precious metals with the clothes on your back. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.